Good morning. Today we're working on a 1979 Super Glide with electric start, thank God. And I'm having a problem with a rich running condition. This bike has the SS Super E carb setup. It's a little shorty SS. They're great carburetors, but for some reason this is running extremely rich and causing me a great deal of problems. What I want to do is to go through this carburetor and show you guys how easy it is. And remember, if you could, thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. With that, let's get to the bike. So I've been having problems with this running really rich. The first thing I do is I take a look at this fuel discharge. This is an overflow hose. So if the float is failing, you will see gas in here. So we keep that out and to see what we got. With that, I'm going to start the bike up. You don't even need to choke. That's how rich it's running. All right, I got the ignition on. It might be hard to hear, but I just want to start it up and see if there's any fuel. And it don't sound bad, but that's on choke, 70 degrees out. Black smoke. With that, I'm going to shut it down, and let's pull a plug and take a look at it. All right, this is a 9/16. I did new wires, new plugs, and let's remove this. It's an NGK plug. I've tried many different plugs, and they get fouled out, causing a lot of problems. All right, here's the plug. It kind of looks like it's black and it's running rich. This should have a little grayish tip on that electrode, and then I would be happy with it. And if anybody has any comments or tips, please let us know. This bike has points and a condenser, which I changed. I've had this bike, it was a basket case, a non-running bike for 10 years. So I'm happy what I got, but I still want to dial it in perfect. I do not want to buy a brand new carburetor at $450. What I did was, this is the overflow hose, and you could see at one time it was with fuel, but she's dry, so I know the float is good. I'm going to take the cover off, see what the filter looks like, and see what's going on. And remember, I just did this a week ago, so things should be somewhat clean. I ordered a new rebuild kit for it. Like I said, I really did not want to buy a new carburetor for this bike. They're not cheap. And they're not complicated. So I'm going to pull the SS Super Breather off. Put it aside. This is my filter. Dry. All right, now we're looking into the throat of the carburetor. Now, I'm looking in here. I don't know if you could see it, but right over here, I see fuel. So somewhere or another, it's on its kickstand, and fuel is leaking from the main, or it could be the accelerator pump nozzle. We'll take it apart to see. I see no gas coming out of the overflow hose. Let me start this up one more time. That's what I mean. You don't need no choke, nothing. That's all clear. Now I'm going to shut her down and see if we got gas buildup. There's gas leaking out of this. I'm going to have to take this apart. We're going to take a look. But there is definitely gas right now. It's leaking from the accelerator pump nozzle or the main jet nozzle. We'll have to take a look at this. Let's take this apart. These are basically simple carburetors. I'm going to get a straight edge screwdriver and let's remove these three. When you reinstall these, use some blue Loctite so it never vibrates loose and goes down the throat of the carburetor. That we wouldn't want to happen. Right now, you have no problem because the plate is closed. Now I have to undo this hardware right here. I believe it's going to be a 1/2 inch. They are great carburetors, but like I said, this bike's old. All right, there's a washer. I'll put it on here. I'll put this on the cardboard. Now, just a little review. So now, the way these carburetors operate, you got your fuel line right here. We're going to shut the fuel off. Now, this bowl fills up to here with fuel, and the float stops this float jet from flowing fuel when it's filled to the max. Now, if the float jet don't work properly, you have this hose. This is an overflow hose. So the first thing we see is we don't see gas coming out of there, so that ain't flooding the system. Now, the accelerator pump, that's right here, main jet, and then there's a secondary, I call it an idle jet. They'll call it an intermediate jet. It's all the same thing. So what I'm going to do is shut the fuel off, and we're going to remove this fuel bowl. All right, I shut the fuel off. This is not a vacuum petcock, so it's manual. So shut it off. I'm going to unscrew this hose clamp, and let's remove this hose. Now you see, this is all the way filled up, so that valve is closed. Now, let's go take a look at the gasoline here. So I'm going to take my petcock and turn it on, and it's flowing gas beautifully. All right, let that all drip out. You can see it flowed fuel, and the fuel is clean. So I know I went through this tank and all that stuff at one time. Like this, little ratchet. We got to remove these four flathead screws. 1, 2, and there's one in the back by the accelerator pump, and the hardest one is right back here, which it ain't hard. Just take your time. And you gotta remember, this is filled with gas. You can undo this and drain the gas, but we'll be all right. Get it square, because the backs are the hard ones, so I wanna do the backs first, so this thing don't leak gas. The one by the accelerator pump could be a pain in the butt too. It's the third one in the back. As you do this, you'll get a feel for it. And if you have any questions, just ask. Okay, that's the back one by the accelerator pump. Now, with an extension screwdriver, and now that's how I got to get this back one. It's not easy, but it's not hard. Once you feel, I've been doing this for a while, you should have no problem either. Just take your time and have the right tools. You can see it a little bit. Oh, I got it. Takes a little bit fooling around. Without this tool, it's not happening. Now, I'm going to put sort of a rag right here in case we drop some fuel. I can put this hose back up and not worry about that right now. All right, I'm getting it. All righty. And that's that screw. Let me put that aside. Now these two fronts, easy. You can start to see it's going to start to sweat gas because we're disturbing it. Let's get these two fronts out of here. Now put pressure to hold this up so you don't spill gas. That's why I got that little cup. Now we'll pour the gas out of here. Put your hand, hold it. Put this down, nice and even. And there's your fuel. Now you'll see, I'm shaking this, but I do want you to see this. All right, you see this is filled with fuel. Now, when I push down on that float, it activates the fuel flow. Now, when this is all the way up, no fuel. So now you know if that needle jet on this float mechanism is bad, it'll drip. So now I'll empty it. And that's how you tell if that's bad. I've cleaned this before, but still leaking fuel into the system, making it run rich. Now, what I see here is this gasket, this O-ring right there, that don't look right. Let me put this down. That's what's in there. I just ordered new ones. All right, this is the O-ring for that accelerator pump nozzle. And as you see, this is the one we took off. That is the nozzle, which we will be checking. This one you can see is a lot healthier. $3 eBay. That one, not so much. Okay, now we can remove the gasket, no problem. As you see, this is the main jet, and this is the intermediate jet. This is the rod for the accelerator pump, and this is the choke. We will blow some fluid through there, carb cleaner, but let's check this one out first. 1/2 inch. These are big jets, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'm gonna spray some carb cleaner through it. There's some holes here. Inspect it. There we go. Now we'll just remove it by hand. I'll show it to you. And remember, I did this about a week ago. These are all clean. This is what I'm talking about. You can really, when these are in there tight, you don't want to break this or do anything stupid to it. With a wire brush, I'm going to clean it up. Remember, I checked these all a week ago, but she's still running, and I figured that O-ring is probably the problem. Put my wire. If this doesn't work, I'm going to go for a smaller jet. Okay, there's that wire. There we go. All right. I took this wire off a wire brush. I just pulled it out and straightened it out, and it works real good on these idle or intermitting jets. So with that, this is clean. I'm gonna put it all back together now with the different O-ring. The accelerator pump needle. Now take a look at it closely. All right, you see I'm cleaning this. Now, you can remove this. I just took a pair of pliers, and there we go. I'm gonna run this down in here, and that goes to the other side of this accelerator pump diaphragm. Now, as you see, I got this. This is the top of that accelerator pump. Okay, carefully look at it because I don't want to spray this at the camera. At the top, you'll see like a smile. There it is, right there, right there. I'm gonna spray it towards the bike. So we know that's clean. Utmost important that this goes back on facing the right way. So we know the accelerator pump's on this side. So we know this sprays towards the back. So now that it's clean, all it is, you can see it right there, a little smile. That's got to be facing the throat of your carburetor. Now, I'm going to take this blue gasket we just ordered, and you can see it's much healthier. And this will, I believe, block that fuel being pulled from this carburetor when she's sitting here. Because these things act like a pump. As that motor's chugging away, it's pulling vacuum. So if you don't have this sealed properly, it's going to pull fuel into the system. With this right now, I'm going to test this system. Now you'll see she's filled with fuel, and it's not leaking. When that fuel is leaking, that means you're shallow on fuel here. What I want to do is take this accelerator pump, and you can see Now I'm getting it to work properly. All right, we're gonna let this drain now. And what I'm gonna do now is check this accelerator pump, make sure she's proper. That's these 2 screws under there. I hope you can see this. This was that screw, the long one, when we disconnected the bowl from the carburetor base. Now you got these 2 small ones. There's gonna be springs. All right, that's that screw. And with that, you can see the 2 O-rings, and this, everything's working proper. I'm gonna put this back together. Seems clean, all is well. I think it's the O-ring on the accelerator pump nozzle. All right, let's just put that back together. Now, if it was all dirty and corroded, but I took this apart. I'm just going through it because obviously I missed that O-ring. All right, let me tighten it up. Okay, there's that. I'll put this down. All right, now let's put this, they call the intermediate idle jet. I'm gonna put it in by hand. Now you could get a screwdriver now that it's loose, but I got the vice grip right here adjusted. Beautiful. Now take the main jet, 1/2 inch, screw it here. Like I said, you could do this without removing, yeah, this is it. You can see the 2 holes for the, okay, nice and easy. Like I was explaining to you before, you don't have to take this apart. The gas level only gets to that height in this float. That's it, right here. Now, if it overflows, the gas comes through here. So if you see gas coming through here, it's your float level. With that, you'll see you got a small little O-ring that goes here. All right, I got that on there. Now I'm gonna fit this in, nice and even. They all slide together, nice and easy. You got these 2 rods, the accelerator rod and the choke. That's it. Now your hand is just like that. Start off with the 2 front smaller screws. And what we're gonna do is go for this back one. Now, you're gonna have to start it with your finger. It's not hard. I got it in the hole. There we go. Last thing you want to do is strip it. Start it by hand. What happened was this was tight and it was holding an angle on that bowl, causing the screw to be a little resistant. All right, we're not going to tighten them until we do that back screw on the accelerator pump. Now this screw will be the 3rd screw in the back of the accelerator pump. You can feel for it. So this will be the 4th screw to hold the carburetor bowl in place. This one's easy. It's that back, it's quite a bear. Sometimes you'll get it right away, but you definitely got to self-start it. We can tighten these. We'll start with this one. This is the one when we took it apart. Just double checking. Okay, now we get to this one. Alrighty. This is the back, this is the long one. There you go. This tool is mandatory. Home Depot. You can see the threads, but you get your fingers on it. You'll see the threads right here. Now the hole's getting filled with the screw. Be aware. Nice. With that, it's all tightened up. All right, we're almost there. Let's get, we got a little clamp. Okay. A gas hose. Put it just the way it was. Now remember, check your hardware here and there for any kind of looseness. All right, we don't have the bracket on or anything, but what I'm gonna do is turn the gas on, make sure we don't got no leaks. 6 o'clock, straight down. Give it a second or two and we'll see what's going on. Gravity should fill this float bowl up. Turn the key on. I'm gonna hit the button, see what we got. All right, she's in neutral. No choke, nothing. Accelerator pump needs to be primed. All right, what I want to do is put this air breather cover back on. You will see this clip that goes here on the choke. All right. I'm going to put a little blue. As I said before, you don't want these coming out. Do not use red. That's a little on the overkill side. I just figure it can't hurt. I never had a problem, but it's not like I drive around one of these bikes all the time. All right, let's get that all where it needs to be. You definitely don't want one of these coming out and getting sucked into your motor, that's for sure. Nice big screwdriver. Like I said, we don't have no fuel coming out of this hose, so that means everything's seating up. The next thing is an adjustment. Let's try to start her again. She's on. That seems to be working so far. Idle seems to be a bit high. Now here we're looking at the throat of the carburetor. Accelerator pump all primed up. It appears to be nice. I'm going to go through the adjustment. This right here is your idle. Usually just turn that until you're happy with the RPMs in your idle. This here is your air fuel. 1 1/4 turns out from seated is a good start. Now over here is your accelerator pump. 2 turns out and make adjustments, 1/4 turn in or 1/4 turn out, and see how the throttle reacts. I'm going to start the bike up again and you'll see how she acts. Response is what you're looking for in your accelerator pump adjustment. Now with your air fuel, you can go 1/4 either way, make adjustments on the idle wheel, and then it's up to personal, you know, put the air filter on, check it out again. Now let's see how she starts. these adjustments in the description. Any questions, just ask. I'm going to button her up and then we'll test her again. All right, air filter, you'll see it goes on here and there'll be a slot right there, it indents in. I still got this bracket to put in, but I like to start it up and see that everything's nice. See, by not tightening these, you could get to this third one. Otherwise, it'd be a bit of a pain. Now you can tighten them down. We already know she runs quite well. But these older bikes with these SS carburetors on them, they could be a little bit of a pain. But to buy a new SS carburetor, they're over $400 for these E's and G carburetors. 400 plus. You'll see a lot of them for sale for $50, $60 on eBay. I can only advise you, I never had any luck with them. All right, let me get the washer on there. All right, it's an aircraft nut, so it has thread lock on it. And I do believe that O-ring, that blue O-ring was the answer. Now test and tune. She is a 1979 Super Glide E, so it has electric start, thank God. This bike would kill me. My first Harley Davidson was in '83, the last year for the shovel. The hose out for a little bit to see if she's going to leak. Usually I'll trace it back here into by the transmission. Otherwise, she's a cool bike. I mean, 1979. It's a long time ago. That's when I was a kid. 79, I was riding these things. And they sure come a long ways. With that, let's start it up and see what we got. But first, if you can, thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you have any tips on how to do it different, please write them in the comments. With that, ride safe and have a great day. Let me start her up, see what we got. Thank you for watching.